Great. Hello, everybody. Thank you all for joining today. We're really excited to have HomeRoom and Madison Trust Company with us to talk about the best ways and best strategies for maximizing real estate investment. Just a couple of quick housekeeping rules. Please note the webinar is being recorded so we can share it afterwards. Please do keep muted, but feel free to also go off camera. We'll have time for questions at the very end, but feel free to pop them into the chat throughout the presentation, and we'll address them all at the end. By way of introduction, my name is Sheena, and I am the fractional CMO at HomeRoom. And we have a great content for you today. So thank you all so much for joining. A quick rundown of the webinar today. We're going to hand it over to Nick from our side from HomeRoom, and he'll talk about what HomeRoom is, what the rent by the room model is, how to get started, and then we'll hand it off to our partners here at Madison Trust to talk about how you could leverage your retirement funds to make different investments. So I will hand it off to you, Nick, to get us started.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining and a happy first day of summer. My name is Nicholas Hummer. I am the Senior Director of Advisory Services here at HomeRoom. I have over a decade of real estate investing experience myself, having done numerous flips in the Bay Area. I have a short-term rental in San Francisco and a couple of apartments in Sacramento, California. So definitely have some great experience to share with you today. Turn it over to Dana.
Thank you, Nick. My name is Donna DeMoulin. I am the investments manager at Madison Trust Company, and we specialize in alternative investments, but using your self-directed IRA, right, Mike?
Yep. So my name is Mike. I work on our sponsors team over here. So I work with people like Sheena to help clients come through and make those investments. And really, we'll talk about how you can do things through retirement fund investing. And we'll pass it back to HomeRoom for their presentation.
Wonderful. So what is HomeRoom? HomeRoom is a residential real estate platform that simplifies out-of-state investing and streamlines real estate ownership, really by eliminating the need to get hands-on into it. It's one of the easiest ways for real estate investors to earn outsized returns on their properties. Really, we unleash the value of the actual property and generate additional rental income from the property. We source the best deals on single-family homes from the market every single day. We convert those properties into a rent-by-the-room house, maybe by adding a couple of bedrooms or by converting a living room or dining room into bedroom space. We then lease up the property by the room, and we manage that property for you. It's all done by HomeRoom through the app. So we are a technology company as well. We've created an app for the tenants. They can we can manage the entire process of the tenant experience, sourcing the candidates, interviewing them, simplifying the leases, addressing their maintenance issues, and more, all done through the app. We are in about 10 markets right now. Honestly, there's probably 4 or 5 that I'm really excited about, where we have a lot of density and we're seeing a lot of success. Austin, Dallas, Indianapolis, Atlanta, and Tampa. We have about 60 people on our team. We manage probably around 300 properties, and our investors are everyone from, on one end, the individual, the professional on the West Coast or the East Coast who's working long hours and has money but doesn't have time to really dive in and become a subject matter expert on real estate investing in like Dallas, all the way on the other end to individuals who've given us millions of dollars to build portfolios for them and who are seasoned and experienced real estate investors. So really runs the gamut. Rent by the room is the concept that we're talking about today. And really, this just refers to renting out an individual room within the actual single family house in order to increase the rental cash flow. Simple concept, unleashes a lot of additional rental income for the property. Can be kind of difficult to manage on your own, but that's, again, what HomeRoom's for. Last year or so, we went and we had an independent auditor come through and look at all the properties in our portfolio. And what we found is we actually attributed 50% more rental income for homeroom properties than to the typical single family. So the actual cash on cash return for a single family homeroom property was 7.10% versus 4.7% cash on cash return for a single family home. And we're in a broad range of markets that allow investors to get exactly what they're looking for. So for example, on one side, if you're looking for a high cash yield market, that would be in Atlanta, where we're getting 6, 7, 8, 9, 10% cash on cash return, even in markets with high interest rates like they are today, all the way to Austin, which is really an appreciation market where people are seeing potentially 30% year over year increases on returns on their investments from that region. When you rent out a house individually by the room, it increases your monthly income, right? Here's a property that we own, that we manage in Kansas City. It's a pretty house. It was generating $2,000 a month as a single family. It was a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. HomeRoom identified it as a great property. And we said, we can get $500 per room here, and let's add some additional rooms. So what we did is we converted the family room and the dining room to individual bedrooms, and we turned it from a 4-bedroom, 2-bath to a 6-bedroom, 2-bath, rented it out by the room, and generated an additional $1,000 per month of rental income. So it's the same house. We are just getting more rent for it. One thing that might not be as intuitive is actually what we're doing with the rent by the room approach is stabilizing your returns too. Think about this as like taking it from a single family home, turning it almost to a mini apartment building. On the left side is a single family rental, and the teal bars represent points in time where there's no rental income being generated. And the solid bar, the black bars, are where there's somebody in the house. And so what you see is, as you lease up the property, there's 24 months or so where things are going along good. Then the family leaves and you need to spend a bunch of time painting the house, replacing the carpet, fixing the backyard and front yard and so forth, and then getting the rent ready and renting it out. And then you have additional months of income. With homeroom, the way homeroom works is, ideally once the house is rent ready, a few folks will move in, and then the house leases up to 100%, and then you never really lose, you're never at a point where you're getting zero income from the house again. All the way across, you're seeing maybe a teal box there, but at the end of the day, we're always generating income from that property. If you wouldn't mind muting yourself, please, that would be wonderful. Thank you. Some of the major forces that are driving this rent by the room approach, where HomeRoom's focusing, we're focusing on areas that have a high population density, high job market, and a big influx of population. So in these areas, people are delaying their marriages, they're getting married later, they're staying in the rental property, they have massive student debt, which is maybe preventing them from moving into that first home. At the same time, there's a bunch of people moving into the state, like in Dallas and Austin and Atlanta, driven by that job growth. And there's not enough rental housing to go around, right? So maybe instead of 2 or 3 people looking for that same at a single apartment property, you might have 10 people vying for that same apartment. So property or rental prices have increased, thus creating a lack of affordable housing. And what HomeRoom's offering is an affordable room and a great property that's really driving this approach. And just to reiterate what I said earlier, we are really doing everything for you. This is a completely passive, hands-off approach to real estate investing. So we're using a data-driven approach to find properties that will rent out really, really well, that have a high demand for room rentals. We will connect you with our trusted realtor that we work with in each market, depending on where you wanted to buy. At that point, once the property becomes yours, you own the property. Then we come on site and we'll manage renovations, we'll furnish the property, we will handle leasing up the property, and then managing the tenants and the maintenance and everything else that's required in the property. Every once in a while, someone sells a house, and typically what happens is they sell it off market to another homeroom investor. Everybody loves their properties. And so when someone's ready to sell, it gets snatched up right away off market. Here's an example of a homeroom, the Lensers. They own 4 properties with us. They've been homeroom owners for 5 years. This is a great example of, typical purchase This was a house in Kansas City that was purchased for $281,000 or so. The typical out-of-pocket cost to get started with a homeroom is about $100,000. In this case, their out-of-pocket cost was about $102,000. And when you look at all the numbers, we're including a vacancy estimate, we're including our property management fee, we're building in estimates for repairs, and even still, the monthly net cash flow that was anticipated on this property was $654 after all of their expenses were paid, so yielding a 7.6% cash on cash return. So, that's really our approach. Thanks so much for learning more about Homeroom. If you're interested in learning more about this process, reach out to us. My email address is nick@livehomeroom.com. You can leverage Madison Trust to fund the property purchase with your retirement funds, and then Homeroom does the rest. So let me turn it over to Madison Trust to pick it up from here.
Awesome. We're going to share our screen over here. Let's see. Perfect. All right. So we have a short presentation for you on the IRA side of things. And just, thanks again, Homeroom, for having us on here. My name once again is Mike, and I have Donna with me, our investments team manager, and I'm on the sponsor side. So one of the things that we like to do is really educate people about this powerful tool that they can use to further diversify their portfolio, which is the self-directed IRA. So you might be asking, what is a self-directed IRA? So a self-directed IRA is the same thing as a regular IRA. It's a retirement account. The difference comes in with what you can invest into. So regular IRAs, you're going to generally be tied to the stock market or one of those three kind of standard asset classes: cash, publicly traded stocks, and bonds. Self-directed IRAs allow you to invest in pretty much everything else. So we call those alternative investments. And one of the most common ones is real estate, which is what Homeroom does. So you can see some other examples up on the screen, but typically we like to think of the self-directed IRA as like an IRA plus. It just allows you to do a lot more, and you get to choose what you invest into. So,
what I like, Mike, what you said is diversifying your portfolio with real estate. In my experience, what I see is that a lot of individuals out there, they're not aware they can actually purchase real estate with their retirement money. So now imagine opening your eyes and understanding, wait, I can have an IRA with stocks and bonds, but I can also have an IRA, a self-directed IRA, where I'm diversifying my portfolio with real estate and getting to deals such as Homeroom.
Yeah, it's an interesting process. Basically, the way to think about it is your self-directed IRA is the investor. So rather than you purchasing a house or purchasing a piece of real estate, your IRA does. All the IRA information is what goes on those titles. We can talk about that a little bit more later on in our presentation here.
Fantastic.
Perfect. So Donna, how would you open up a self-directed IRA at Madison Trust?
We like to make things very simple and very easy, especially when it comes to our clients' retirement money. So we like to keep it to 3 simple steps: open, fund, invest. You can open up your self-directed IRA with Madison Trust. It should take 10 minutes or less. It's all online.
We have tested it, so it's less than 10 minutes.
We have definitely tested it ourselves. Next up, we'll send you instructions to fund your account. You can either send it from a existing IRA, roll it over from a former retirement plan like a 401k, or contribute. Once the funds are in, now you can invest in the asset of your choice. Now, Madison Trust is a passive custodian, so we don't provide any legal, tax, or financial advice. However, when a client knows something that they're passionate about, such as real estate, investing in this deal, they can instruct Madison Trust, and then we will send the funds to that investment title company or escrow attorney in the case of real estate. And after that, you sit back, relax, and watch your Madison Trust account grow.
And on top of that, it's just a way to increase the amount that you can invest with. A lot of people, again, they just don't know that they can use retirement funds for some of the same things that they're using their personal funds for. Quite often, you can even be in the same investment if that's a large enough pool. So
yeah, definitely. And the advantage is now you're watching all of this grow, the appreciation that is under a tax advantage account.
yeah.
So Mike, I just told you one advantage of utilizing a self-directed IRA. What are the other benefits?
Yeah, so before we jump into the benefits, I real fast want to just touch on that word self-directed once more. So typically, Many of you here might have an IRA or a 401k somewhere else, and it might be called self-directed in quotes, but it's usually not. Sometimes companies will say that, and you get to choose from a selection of maybe 5 funds in your 401k. So yeah, sure, you direct it into those options, but you can't really just go to your IRA at the bank and direct it and say that you want to purchase a piece of real estate with that. They'll probably look at you funny. But that's what self-directed is supposed to mean. And it's what it does mean at Madison Trust. You tell us what you want to invest in, and we facilitate that for you. So the benefits of a self-directed IRA, you can see them on the screen there. It's portfolio diversification, it's hands-on investing, and it's stability. That portfolio diversification, when you're on the stock market, you can diversify between different sectors and things like that, but you're still tied to the stock market. You're not truly diversified into these other types of assets, like real estate, for example. And with hands-on investing, you get to do what you know, rather than pour over stocks and guess which company you think might do good or bad. You get to look at a piece of property or another investment that you think is a good fit, and you're the one who gets to put your personal experience into that and have something real and tangible that your retirement account owns. And then again, stability. The stock market in general is volatile, and not just volatile, but reactionary. So your piece of property that's in your IRA, that value is probably not going to change if someone sends a tweet or like a news story comes out about a company, like the same way that stock prices can be affected by that public opinion. So these are the real main benefits of a self-directed IRA. Again, it's just you're in control as the investor. You're in control of your retirement funds, so much more so than you would be through a typical IRA. And then, of course, you enjoy the standard tax benefits of having a retirement account. So we offer many different types of accounts: traditional, Roth, simple. That fit is up for you and your financial advisor to figure out what's best for you. But you'd either have tax deferred or tax-free growth, depending on the type of account you're setting up.
Absolutely.
So just as in any industry, there's multiple providers for a service, and the self-directed space is the same. There's other self-directed. So what do you think sets Madison Trust apart the most? What is the advantage of using Madison Trust over another custodian?
Well, this is my favorite topic, Mike. I love talking about this because the number one reason why Madison Trust is the industry leading self-directed IRA custodian out there is because of our stellar, exceptional customer service. Similar to HomeRoom, we like to make this process of utilizing your retirement money to invest in what you're passionate about, real estate, easy, because the common fear is it's too complicated. It's retirement money. I don't want to mess with my retirement money. I want a happy retirement. And that's exactly what we want as well. We want everyone to have a happy retirement, but also provide clients with the opportunity to diversify. And Madison Trust customer service is unparalleled. And of course, the next is we want to make retirement accessible and affordable. Therefore, Madison Trust, we make sure our fee structure is flat rate fees. So it's $400 a year. That's $100 a quarter. So your portfolio value could be $100,000 or $500,000, depending on the property you might have at Madison Trust. The annual fee will remain $400.
This is a big point to mention. This is something that seems like it should be so obvious, but it's not. If you go to another custodian, they're going to charge you a percent of your total value that you have in the account most of the time. So it's really something that does set us apart, and it's at a fair value as well.
And with real estate, that's a huge thing with appreciation, knowing that you're not getting overcharged. And everything else with Madison Trust is transactional fees, $50 to set up an account, $50 to invest. Everything is transparent in our Madison Trust site, and we have no hidden fees. And of course, the industry knowledge. When you are utilizing your retirement money, you want to work with a custodian that knows what they're talking about. Madison Trust, we pride ourselves in our fantastic experts who are rigorously trained in CISP. You can set up a consultation call with any of our experts. You don't even need to set up an account. You can ask questions about the process. How can we start this process? What are the benefits? What are the pros and cons associated with utilizing your self-directed IRA? And you know what I call this? I call this the Madison Trust advantage.
That's an awesome one. And I think that just another thing to mention, we really love our account navigators here as well. That's on the one side, you have an intro call to see if it's right for you, but you also have, when you're here, when you're a client, you can set up a navigation call. If you really do need that extra assistance, you can schedule one, or you can just call in. We answer our phones. If for any reason we're unavailable, we return our voicemails within about 24 hours. That's, again, something you're not going to find as commonly with other custodians. It seems like such a funny thing to really make a point of, but that's one of our founding principles was just to provide this client service level here.
Perfect. I think we covered that, but I think let's open up the floor to see if some of our attendees today have some questions for HomeRoom and Madison Trust Company.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to just put a quick slide up on the screen here. So we have Donna and I's information as well as Nick's information over here. You can contact any of us or all of us for the questions you might have beyond this, but we'd like to open the floor up for questions now.
All right, guys, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and read off some of the questions. We have one here for HomeRoom. So Nick, how involved do investors need to be to find the property? How does HomeRoom find the properties that are most likely to appreciate / have higher yields?
No, that's a great question. Again, like I said, we're a very data-driven company. The areas that we're operating in, we are using thousands of data points, everything from Department of Labor and Bureau of Statistics, all the way to, what is the density of the population to, what are the vacancy rates or the occupancy rates for homerooms in a specific area. So we will work with the investor to identify what's important for them. Is it the cash on cash appreciation? Is it, I want to be in a pretty neighborhood with great schools where the property will appreciate? Everybody is a little bit different with what they want. And then we'll align our data sets to kind of what the investor wants. And we'll look for properties that will meet both of those scenarios. Does that make sense? Is that okay?
I have a feeling Sheena might be unable to unmute herself.
Oh yeah, so I'll go ahead
and help out with that.
The next question, I already have a few properties in Austin. I'm using rent by the room. Would HomeRoom help with properties that already exist? Yes, absolutely. So feel free to reach out to us and we can talk about how we can take over any properties that you currently have. Then I noticed that Dave G wanted to have you guys reach out to him, and he has his email address there. So we'll make sure you get that for outreach further.
You already got it written down. Thanks.
Awesome. And someone asked, do you need to get any state of local approvals to convert a single family home into a multi-rental property? This is one of the value adds that HomeRoom brings to the table, is we have in-depth understanding of local codes and ordinances. And really it's a case, the answer is it's a case-by-case basis of what needs to happen, but HomeRoom will advise and manage on that. Great. Well, if no one has any other questions, thank you very much for your time, and happy investing.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks HomeRoom for having us on as well. And please reach out to again.
I think we got one more.
I think we got one more question.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I also got a separate one inbound, but does the 100K, is the 100K the minimum amount? In the future, will the amount come down?
Probably not the way that that properties are appreciating. That's typically what the out-of-pocket cost is to get started with the HomeRoom property.
So in an interesting vein, at Madison Trust, there is something called checkbook control structures and multi-member LLCs. So that's a way for investors to pool funds together into one entity that can then invest. That's something that we could have a further conversation about. And that's, for any investing in general, there's ways to pool funds and then make investments that way as well, if you might not have enough on your own.
And don't forget, there's another fantastic thing when it comes with using retirement money is you can get a non-recourse loan, especially if you are investing into real estate. And Madison Trust, we can actually assist with that process as well, if anyone is concerned about the minimum amount.
Oh, that's really good to know. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Next question, is it possible to skip some of the steps that HomeRoom does? I don't know if it'd be helpful, Kartik, if you want to share which steps you're referring to the furnishing. Yeah, actually another question I got inbound was about the the construction of the other rooms. Like how does that work in terms of adding extra rooms? So
Yeah, typically we add the rooms to make the house cash flow more, right? That's where the magic happens. If a house, what we found is if you're renting out a house per room, if it's a 4-bedroom house, the amount you can get as a 4-bedroom per room isn't that much more substantial than it is as a single family rental. So we really add those additional bedrooms to drive that additional rental income. Can you skip some of the rooms or some of the steps? I mean, you could furnish the property yourself if you wanted to, but at the end of the day, what we found is people typically have a bed and a nightstand and a TV, but they don't have enough furniture to furnish an entire property. And what we want is to make a compelling, nice place to live that'll attract, high quality residents. So, for example, travel nurses, really, really great individuals going to stay there for 3 to 6 months. They're not going to be moving their entire house, but they will pay top dollar for a room in a nice area and a safe neighborhood.
Last question. Do you provide financing DSCR options?
Yeah, so we work with mortgage brokers that do provide out of the box financing like DSCR loans for sure. Yeah.
Great. Are there any other questions from anyone? Fantastic. Well, thank you all so much for joining. We'll follow up with a recording of this video, which will also have the contact information of both Madison Trust, Donna, Michael, and Nick, as well as Peter, who is hosting from the homeroom side. So thank you all for joining us and have a great rest of your day.
Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Bye-bye.